Neonic Void Productions presents.
I suck at starting these things, even with the other podcasts. I'm just going to dive right in. Hi, welcome. Hi, how are you? What's good? What's poppin'? Welcome to Haus, the House of Ideas. House of Ideas, the House of Ideas. My God, I quit. I quit life. Welcome to the House of Ideas, where you sit with a nerd as talks with other nerds about nerdy shit. And apparently, my other co-host, the three-legged queen herself, Nimba. Yeah, they love you. Yeah, drama queen. So today, welcome back to another episode, and with a new guest. So today, I have with me Wick.
Hello.
What's good? What's poppin'?
I mean, it's been good. I wouldn't say super new guest. I've been with you for.
That's true.
There was another one.
There was a couple of them. The Storytellers Guild with.
That's the one. It's been a while.
The guys void on. Yeah, it's been a while. We need to start those up again. But we all been doing
please.
Our own
so much
thing.
fun.
I know.
Right.
Lost my train of thought. But yes, Wick is back. It's been a minute, and he's granted. I mean, when I approached everyone that's part of Neonic Void Productions or or is affiliated, a friend of the pods, whoever wanted to be on this podcast for nerdy comic book shit, Wick here was one of the first people who's like, yes, I want in. Get me in. I want in.
Yeah, no, we can blame it on ADHD hyperfixation. So,
I mean,
like, I have things to talk about. Let me do the things. Let me talk about them.
Literally, and eventually, I mean, myself, I've been wanting to do a podcast on comic books forever, and one never really stuck. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna do it. And then here we are. Four episodes in. Now, before we begin, if you're listening to this on YouTube, cool. Hi, how are you? Subscribe, like, comment, cool, fun stuff. If you're listening to this on Spotify or a podcast, please leave a 5-star rating. It helps. It's a new podcast, and I would like for this to go somewhere, as well as my other ones. There will also be a link in the description below, and I'll take you to a link tree with all the other shows in the Neonic Void family. If you're interested in listening to podcasts on mythology, books, horror films, or anything ooky spooky, or even D&D, all of that will be there in the link tree below, as well as the Twitter for the House of Ideas. So yeah, jumping right on in. Today we're taking a little break, or I'm taking a little detour from my typical stuff of Marvel, because the House of Ideas is not discriminating against other comic book fandoms and groups and companies. I have it completely open to everybody, just mostly Marvel's my bag. But every once in a while, if someone approaches me that wants to do something DC or Image or Boom Studios or anything of that nature, I'm always down. Today will be the first episode that this podcast does something on DC. And it's going to be over the Lantern Corps. Not just the Green Lantern Corps, but some of them. Well, majority of them.
Most of them. Yeah, there are a couple that we won't be covering. And to explain why, one of them, and I know that we'll probably get a little bit of upset fans about this one, is the Ultraviolet Corps. And the only reason that I'm not talking about that one is because, frankly, I don't know enough about them. I know that they were started by Sinestro.
Of course,
and they are
you do.
a villain corps, and that's it. That's like all I know. And their whole gimmick is that they are the unseen light, the invisible emotional spectrum, which is really cool. I haven't read enough to get into that yet. And then the other one is the Gray Lantern Corps, which is the emotion of apathy, which is actually the absence of emotion. So we won't be getting into those two. You could technically also toss in the gold and silver lanterns in that one, but
hey, that's a thing.
No, it's a thing. It's absolutely a thing. But I don't know enough about them to really feel comfortable speaking on it. I could absolutely pull up some fun facts about them, but they'll be literally straight off the internet rather than my brain.
Yeah, fair. So before we get into the main meat and potatoes of the episode on the Lantern Corps, what got you into reading comic books? This is a question I ask every majority of the co-hosts that come on here. What got you into comics?
Well, as you introduced the show, you said that you bring in nerds to talk about nerd shit, and here I am.
Yeah.
I am a nerd. That's what got me into comics. No, actually, so my mom actually married the man that would adopt me to be his son when I was 8. And he grew up in the golden age of comics. And when I say he grew up in it, I mean this man had boxes upon boxes. Like half of our 2-car garage was actually filled with boxes of comic books and like novels, mostly comic books. And so when I was little, I would rifle through them and I would try to find, because they were not organized. Like, he was an avid reader. He would read them, put them in the box, and that's where they stayed. And he knew enough about them. I could ask him questions. But I had the hardest time finding the beginning. Like, if I wanted, like, Superman #1, I was not going to find that. Because I either didn't have the time or just didn't have the patience. Thank you, ADD. But I really got deeper into it when I hit middle school, and all my friends were reading manga, and I'm like, it's kind of like a comic book, but it comes from Japan, and there's a lot more pages. And so it was a slow snowball effect, but as I got older, I'm like, I'm working now. I've got adult money. I have adult responsibilities I'm going to pretend don't exist so I can go spend the adult money. And I got really big into comics, and Green Lantern has been my biggest fascination for the better part of 2 or 3 years now.
Okay. I will agree that with DC, because again, DC is not my bag of tricks. It's not my bag of knowledge that I can just randomly pull from, unlike Marvel. But some of the things that do fascinate me about DC is the Lantern Corps, for one, as well as like the Constantines, the Antenna, the whole horror, creepy side of DC. But as far as like the main superhero stuff, the Lantern Corps do strike an interest. And I know enough to get by, but like again, we're in foreign territory for Devin here.
That's why I'm here.
We're in enemy territory. I say enemy lightly because I have no room to talk. I do read DC comics. Like right now, I've been reading the what's it called? Night Terrors. They're so good.
Ooh,
so good.
That sounds pretty good.
It's basically like a horror. I'm not gonna get into it. It's like basically like a horror event going over the course of this month and next month. It's very short, but they're releasing like 20-some issues in a matter of 2 months. It's ridiculous.
Oh wow, that's insane.
But it's
I again don't want to get too deep into the weeds because it's not what we're here for. But
of course.
One that I think you should look into, which I actually have all of, Vampire the Masquerade actually released comics, and every single one of them was absolutely fantastic. I love them. So if there's anybody from White Wolf listening, please bring it back. Continue the story. You set us up for like a Werewolf of the Apocalypse thing. and I need more. But there hasn't. It's been like radio silence for 2 years. So they're phenomenal. I have them in like bag and board on a shelf. Nobody touches them. Like obviously, I'm not gonna attack you if you go after it. I will absolutely lend them to somebody. Just bring it back in the condition they came.
Oh, of course. No, those comics have been on my list of things to read, but I have such a long list. So eventually I'll get to them because I have glanced through them, some of them, and they looks interesting. So it's on my list. So yeah. All right, the Lantern Corps. So how you want to do this?
I don't know. Let's. I guess we should probably start by going over the cores that we will be talking about tonight, which are going to be what I will refer to as the Big Nine. Again, normally it's Big 10, but we're not talking about the ultraviolets. So the Big Nine, for those of you who are unfamiliar or you're just getting into this, are the Green Lantern Corps, the Yellow Lanterns, also known as, or more often referred to as, the Sinestro Corps, the Red Lantern Corps, the Blue Lantern Corps, Orange, and then there's it's kind of obscure. So they're referred to as the Violet Corps, or the Star Sapphires, but in all of the artwork I've seen, they're pink. It's not violet.
Yeah.
It's pink. But even in the comics, they refer to them, violet looks good on you, purple looks good on you. And then there is the Indigo Tribe, not called Lantern. They are a Lantern Corps, but they refer to themselves as a tribe.
Yeah.
And we'll get into that later. Black Lanterns and the White Lantern Corps, which are very new, but they're a lot of fun. So, that's who we'll be talking about tonight. I guess let's try this. You said you have some knowledge of the lanterns.
I do.
What do you already know?
Okay, let's see. So as far as the history of them as a whole, the Lantern Corps, well, going back to the dawn of the universe. So in the beginning, in the dawn of the universe, blah blah blah, all that fun shit. There are technically 7 entities that spawned the seven of the cores, pretty much. You got, I'm gonna butcher these fucking names, but basically you got one that resembles a whale or a fish. That's the Green Lantern for the willpower. It's Ion.
I mean, I've never actually heard it spoken, so I'm gonna default to your judgment.
You're defaulting to a dyslexic person, so it's gonna be just a nightmare. You got Parallax, who's the entity for fear. You got a demonic bull that's known as the Butcher, and of course, Bull Rage, self-explanatory. Then you got a serpent, which I'm not even going to try to say that thing's name.
Which one? You can spell it out. Which one you?
It's OPH, Ophidian, and that's a large serpent-like creature, and that one's for greed. And then you got Adara, which is a 3-headed bird. That is the creature for hope, which that's odd. A 3-headed bird for hope. Okay, no, not mad at that. It's interesting. It's weird. The embodiment. There's also the embodiment of compassion, which is known as the. Oh God. Proselyte? Yeah, Proselyte. It's a squid-like creature. Proselyte. And then you got the Predator, which is the creature that represents love. And it's a skeletal dragon. That one's the most interesting to me.
It kind of is.
It's
when I
weird.
First saw the artwork. Yeah, no, it is weird. When I first saw it, for those of our listeners that are familiar with Magic the Gathering, the Predator looks almost like a sliver, in my opinion.
Right?
Almost.
He does.
Not quite, but almost.
He does.
That was the first thing I thought of when I saw it. When I saw the first panel of it, I was like, "What?"
And it's so weird to think that the creature that spawned off the Violet or the Star Sapphire core for love is a skeletal abomination of a dragon.
Yeah. And
Weird.
It's called the Predator, but I actually found out why. Like, why they chose to name it that.
Well, don't leave me in suspense. Go into detail with these creatures if you know more information about them.
I figured I was just going to bring it up and then not talk about it the rest of the night. No. My theory, anyways, as to why they chose to call it the Predator and why it looks the way it is because the Star Sapphire crystal that makes the Star Sapphires what they are is actually parasitic. It's a parasite. It's not this like helpful object. It actually enslaves its host to think and act a certain way, almost in the same way that the orange light and the red light. So like the orange light of avarice, it will bring out the most greedy feelings in a person, to the point that they are consumed by it, and everything they do is like, no, you're going to give me this. It all belongs to me. Rage, while as far as I've read, has not been actually called a parasite, I think that it actually is, because the red rings actually replace the host's heart, and taking off a red ring actually kills them, because they no longer have a heart to keep them living.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I
it's all
see.
Cool stuff.
I see what they did there with the parallel to what love could actually, how you can interpret the emotion of love. I see what they did there. I love that. Actually. That's very dark. Of course, the emotion of love can be very twisted.
Oh, absolutely.
Depending on the love.
If there's one thing that DC does right, it's twisted storytelling. I think that they've really knocked it out of the park with all of these. Which actually, you know what? Let's do this. I know I asked you to give me what you had, but to give our listeners a little bit more context as to what each of the cores are kind of like, I actually have all of the core oaths in front of me.
Work.
So, in no particular order, the Black Lantern Core of Death is: the blackest night falls from the skies, the darkness grows as all light dies. We crave your hearts and your demise. By my black hand, the dead shall rise. So they are only ever a Black Lantern is only ever made from a corpse. It can never be worn by a living being because they are still alive. Going further, the red ring of rage, or wrath, depending on who you're talking to, is: with blood and rage of crimson red, ripped from a corpse so freshly dead, together with our hellish hate, we'll burn you all. That is your fate. It's, as you would expect, very angry, very just, we will kill everything. And
I think of the cat. That's a Red Lantern.
I am so glad you brought up Dexter. His name is Dexstar.
I love Dexter.
I love him so much. So I actually was doing some research last night for this podcast, and I came across a comic strip that I had read a long time ago and completely forgotten about, and it's Dexter's origin. And I don't know what your level of swearing is on this podcast, but
you could swear up and down all around.
I fucking cried. All right, I cried hard, and I don't cry. I like to think I'm a pretty tough dude, but
his
that one
origin
tore me up.
His origin story is really sad.
And it got me even worse because I am a major cat lover. I have a cat of my own, and she has been with me for 8 years. And she has saved my life on more than one occasion. We've been through some shit together. And when I read that, I was like, I am not emotionally prepared to deal with this right now. And here she is sitting on my lap while I'm reading it, and I'm just holding her. I'm like, don't leave. Don't leave.
Yeah.
So
the rage is warranted.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Next, yeah.
But actually, so I was actually reading up on it too, and somebody made a comment, and they were absolutely right. It said that in that moment when he became a Red Lantern, Dexter was not just an angry cat. He was the angriest thing in that sector of the universe.
Yeah.
And that's why the Ring chose him.
Yeah.
So that tells you, like, the loyalty he had for his owner. We'll get into his story a little later.
Yeah.
I'm going to finish these. But going back to the oaths, the orange light of greed, or avarice, is the oath is very fitting. What's mine is mine, and mine and mine, and mine and mine and mine, not yours.
That's funny.
That's it.
That's on the nose. That's right there on the spot.
Yeah, as it should be. And we'll get into more of the cool things about all of the cores a little later, but one interesting thing that everybody should know about the Orange Lanterns is there is only one. It's not a core. There is one Orange Lantern named Larfleeze, and he likes to refer to himself as Agent Orange. So we'll get into his story a little later. It's really cool. So the yellow light of fear is also known as the Sinestro core. And this tells you everything you need to know about Sinestro. He's so arrogant and so self-centered, he put his own name into the oath. So, in blackest day, in brightest night, beware your fears made into light. Let those who try to stop what's right burn like my power, Sinestro's might.
Seated ass motherfucker.
He is. And something else fun about him is, even after he was banished from the Green Lanterns for oppressive use of the Green Lantern power, he still views himself as, the best Green Lantern. He's twisted on, so many levels.
Yeah, he is both. Yeah, most definitely. The guy is missing a few marbles.
Missing. He sold them. And then we have the one that everyone knows, the Green Lantern, the green light of willpower. In brightest day, in blackest night, no evil shall escape my sight. Let those who worship evil's might beware my power, Green Lantern's light. Everybody knows it. Everybody's heard it.
Yep.
Even if you've seen the Ryan Reynolds movie we don't talk about, it's in there.
Yeah.
Tells you everything you need to know. Then there is the blue light of hope for the Blue Lanterns. In fearful day, in raging night, with strong hearts full, our souls ignite. When all seems when all seems lost in the war of light, look to the stars, for hope burns bright. I'm stumbling over my words all of a sudden.
No, you're good.
So, my dyslexia is kicking in now. It was my time. The Pink Lanterns, or the Star Sapphires, are for hearts long lost and full of fright, for those alone in blackest night. Accept our ring and join our fight. Love conquers all with violet light. They've got a very interesting history. They were originally designed in 1961. I'm probably getting that date wrong. As an individual villain called the Star Sapphire. And later, when Jeff Johns got a hold of them, I apologize if I'm misquoting this for anybody who knows it better than me. When Jeff Johns got a hold of it, he turned them into their whole core. And gave them everything else that we know now today. So they're really cool. And Carol Ferris, who, for those of you that follow the comics, is one of Hal Jordan's biggest love interests, is actually a leader of the Star Sapphires. She's actually in the story, as far as I understand it. She's part of the reason why the Star Sapphires are no longer villains, and they're allied with the Green Lanterns.
Yeah.
And then we have the white light of life. Say that one 5 times fast. In brightest day, there will be light to cleanse the soul and set wrongs right. When darkness falls, look to the skies. A new dawn comes, let there be light. Okay. I needed to reread it there. I was like, how many times did they say light in that? But it all just rhymed really well. And then the last one is the indigo light of compassion. And I am going to butcher this because it is not in English. It's actually in the alien language that they hail from, the planet that they hail from, the planet Nock. So it is Torloric Sanbor Nakamur Nothromo Fan Tornek What Yor Terlantern Kur Lo Abensur. Hang on to that part. Abensur. Tan Leklek Nok Poromor Sur. So the reason I said to hang on to the name Abensur is Abensur, for those of you guys that don't know, is actually the original Green Lantern that landed on Earth after his fight with Atrocitus and died, and his ring now belongs to Hal Jordan. He's also the founder, or one of the founders, for the Indigo Tribe. And it all started when he discovered the Blackest Night prophecy, which is where all of these other Lantern Corps actually come from. There was a big prophecy in the Book of Oa, which is essentially the book of law for the Green Lanterns. It was written by the Guardians, and Abensur figured out the prophecy of Blackest Night. And the prophecy, in short, is that all life will be extinguished and the dead shall rise. And all of this can't start until the other colored lights of emotion have their cores are born and come together to fight against the black rings of death. Abensur actually discovered a planet called Nock, or not. He didn't discover. He landed on the planet of Nock, and before this, they were going through a battle. And this is before the siege of the planet Nock. A native of the planet, Nostromo, and a few others had uncovered a well that contained the power of compassion. Remembering this, the explorers quickly covered their weapons in the indigo light and proceeded to fight back. Upon first and second strikes, Nostromo realized that once hit with the indigo light covered weapons, those who had done harm instantly felt remorse for their actions. That is, they felt a strong sense of compassion for those they had done wrong. So with this, Abensur actually helped them forge their indigo weapons. They don't wear rings, they're staves.
Huh.
Yeah. Kind of cool. So again, another character. We were talking about this before we started recording. Another character whose fingers are kind of in all of these pots, doing something.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
Yeah. So, but those are all of the oaths of the Big Nine, as it were. Somewhere there is an English translation for the Indigo Tribe. I don't have it, and I was finding it difficult to locate before this.
Now, since we're not going to get into really the Ultraviolet Corps, I do have its oath in front of me, so I thought, to be fair, I go ahead and add that in. So their oath is, by shield of day and shield of night, we feed and grow beyond all sight. Your darkest self shall be our night. Wield the sword of unseen light.
Very
I like
fitting.
that. That's kind of cool. That's cool.
Yeah, very fitting. For what I do know about them, very fitting. I like that.
Yeah. That's as far as the Ultraviolet Corps is going to go.
Yeah. We'll probably bring them up again later, but not in depth.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So there's that. I have a long list of information what else would you like to know?
Okay, so to go to Immortal Guardians of the Universe, you unlock the power of these entities, and then first they were tapping into, I think, Eon, and then from there, that's what led to the first creation of the Lantern Corps, was when the Guardians of the Universe were just fucking around. They're like, oh my god, these unlocked powers with these entities, we should utilize them. And then with Eon, they made the Green Lantern Corps, and then from there, the others came along. And the whole Guardians of the Universe spiel of like the Manhunters and all their bullshit. Yeah, it's... But they were created by the Guardians of the Universe, since they wanted to utilize the powers of these entities.
They absolutely were. You've got most of it. As you mentioned, the Manhunters actually play a vital role in the creation of a couple of the other cores. So again, for those that don't know, the Manhunters were constructs created by the Guardians of the Universe, and they were tasked with going out and policing the universe and making sure that order was kept in all corners of the universe, as it were, in all sectors. Due to a programming error or something misfiring in the AI that makes the Manhunters function, they actually believed that the cause of all disorder was emotion. And the only way to get rid of emotion was to remove sentient life. And they started with Sector 666, also known as the Vega Sector, and committed the biggest genocide in the universe's history, nearly wiping out every living thing from that sector. After that, the Guardians found a way to shut down the Manhunters and created the Green Lantern Corps.
In response.
They put in place a lot of fail-safes that would help them control their new sentient police force, should they ever need to. One of which is actually called the Yellow Flaw. And it is that Green Lanterns are ineffective against, or are weak against, or in the presence of the color yellow. This was something that was created in the original Green Lantern comics. You were talking Green Lantern, Hal Jordan, #1. And Hal Jordan gets his ring, and he's approached by this robot that is made of yellow metal, and he can't do shit. When Jeff Johns got a hold of the project, he was actually able to elaborate on that a little bit more, and found that the Yellow Flaw was put in place by the Guardians of the Universe on purpose, and that there is a way for Green Lanterns to overcome it.
And I'm assuming the Yellow Flaw, quote unquote, is connection to the Sinestro Corps?
Yes and no. It's more connected
unintentional.
It's actually more connected to the creature, the entity of fear, Parallax. Because Parallax actually used to be locked inside of the Green Lantern's central power battery on Oa.
Oh.
Yeah, that's where they imprisoned it. And it was because of that the Yellow Flaw was born, and they decided to keep it. This works. It just means that, and in the original comics, the floor around the central power battery is yellow. Actually, most of the architecture on Oa is yellow.
That makes...
If we look at some of the old comics, I think some of the Jeff Johns comics have it that way still too. I don't think he changed that continuity.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, it was really cool. But as I said, the Manhunters and their whole genocidal psycho issue actually gave birth to the Red Lantern Corps because of one survivor named Atrocitus, who is actually the founder of the Red Lantern Corps.
That's right.
It was founded. I'm sorry.
No, go on. I was like, yeah, that's right. I remember that now. You're right.
Yeah. So his home planet was in Sector 666, the Vega sector, and he founded the Red Lantern Corps after seeking revenge against the Guardians for their creation of the Manhunters. Any association with the Guardians of the Universe he deems as it's your fault too. And so on top of it all, he's also the murderer of Abin Sur, the one that gave Hal Jordan his ring. So he's the reason that Hal became the new ring bearer. And he's, for a long time, he was the biggest threat, or one of the biggest threats to the Green Lantern Corps. Of course, there's also Sinestro, but that's just because the dude won't fucking die.
Facts. He won't die.
Yeah, he's not gonna die. He's like, for whatever reason, something comes in and saves his ass. And I'm like, how many times is this dude gonna use up his allotment of dumb luck?
How many times does me do this, old man?
Exactly. Same energy. So there's that. I actually did have something fun about the Red Lantern Corps. I've got things fun about everybody, but we're on the Red Lanterns right now. So
yeah.
What sets them apart from the other corps is that they are the only corps who follows a to-death membership. So the red ring, as I said, actually replaces the host's heart in such a way that removing it means death. There are ways of removing a red ring and surviving, but they're few in number, and the cases are extremely rare. But we can get into more of that specific detail a little later. But as we mentioned before, one of my favorite characters actually is a Red Lantern. He is the not so lovable anymore house cat named Dexter. And I all I can say is that his story is not for the soft-hearted. Yeah. His story's gonna hurt you.
Yeah.
They did a very good job with that one.
They did.
I guess should we just keep going with the origins of the course? We're already 2 in.
Yeah. So, with the origins of the other course.
Mm-hmm.
So of course Sinestro. Actually, you know what? Take it away. Take it away. Take it away.
I mean, you mentioned Sinestro, so we'll start there. The Sinestro Corps, the Yellow Lantern Corps, obviously founded by Thal Sinestro himself, a former Green Lantern who was banished from the Green Lantern Corps for his oppressive use of the Green Lantern power.
Rightfully so.
Rightfully so. He actually was so oppressive that his own home planet of Korrigar hates Green Lanterns now. His own daughter was actually chosen to replace him in that corps. And she was a neurosurgeon and a widely accepted and loved figure on that planet. But the moment she became a Green Lantern, the masses turned on her so hard that it was jarring, and that she actively was trying to abandon the ring just so she could go back home and be a neurosurgeon again. Eventually, it's actually because of her that Korrigar is now friendlier-ish to the Green Lantern Corps again.
Yeah.
I actually haven't gotten to this part in the story yet. But she actually does eventually become a member of the Sinestro Corps as well. She sides along with dear old dad for just a little bit of time.
That happens a lot.
Yeah, and it does. It really does. So a couple of the members are obviously Thal Sinestro, Amon Sur, spelled Amon, who is actually Abin Sur's son, and the Anti-Monitor. The Anti-Monitor, as far as I remember, I would have to do some digging, so don't quote me on this, I believe is one of the original Manhunter constructs, and was designed to eliminate matter. Anti-Monitor, anti-matter. You get it. Yeah. And because of the Anti-Monitor, parts of his construct body actually fell on the planet Riot, and helped create the Black Lantern Corps when he was defeated. There's a whole thing. He's down on the list. We'll get to him in just a second. But Sinestro was banished from the Green Lanterns for oppressive use of the Green Lantern power. And the interesting thing that sets them apart from the other corps is that they were the first corps to be created after the Green Lanterns. And they're also the only corps named after its founder, going so far as to have his name in their Oath of Power, as we just read. Sinestro created the Corps out of spite for the Guardians, and did so knowing that the Green Lanterns had a weakness to the color yellow. He firmly believed that the power of fear could overshadow the power of will. Now, obviously, he was wrong, but it's still a pretty tough contender in the ring. No pun intended. I realized what I just said. The homeworld of the Sinestro Corps, they've actually had two. So their main one is the planet Quard, Qward, and then there's another one in the antimatter zone, which is like a whole nother plane of existence. As far as I've understood it, nothing has said anything to the contrary. Next up is the Blue Lantern Corps, and they are on the homeworld of Odom. Two notable lanterns. There are plenty more, but the two big ones are Saint Walker and Worth. Worth is actually, I want you to imagine like a Luxodon from D&D. He's just a big walking elephant.
Love that.
Yeah, and Saint Walker looks like almost if Pinhead from Hellraiser was a Twi'lek. It's like, at least that's how I saw him the very first time I saw him in a panel. I was like, "Is that you, Pinhead?" It was a little creepy. They've since cleaned up his artwork, but he was actually founded by two guardians of Oa that had been banished for their insistence of the Blackest Night Prophecy. Their names are Ganthet and Sade. And they are the closest allied corps to the Green Lanterns, but they're also pacifists and can only reach full power in the presence of a Green Lantern. No other corps relies on the presence of another for power, and so they are regarded as one of the weakest corps out of all 9. They're also regarded as one of the strongest, but I have notes on that. That's a fun topic. That's sure to upset a couple of people if I can't sway them. Orange Light of Avarice or Greed is notable figures. There's only one, Larfleeze, the founder. Their homeworld is Okara, and Larfleeze was one of 5 thieves who stole the Parallax entity from Oa. And shortly after, he killed the other 4 thieves he was running with when they discovered the orange light, because they all became extremely greedy and wanted it for themselves. And he full-on Smeagoled his friends. Straight up killed them so that he could keep his precious. It's actually been the best reference I've ever found for this character. He's Gollum.
Makes total sense.
The Guardians actually are afraid of Larfleeze to an extent, to some degree. They, during his origin, they actually tried to get back the Parallax entity by force and found that they couldn't. And so instead, they chose to make a deal with him. The planet Okara is actually in the Vega sector, the same one that the Manhunter constructs destroyed. And so they made a deal. They said, what you're holding is worth a star sector. We will give you the Vega sector. We will never encroach upon it. We will never send anyone to you. You will be left alone. Everything in it belongs to you if you give us that box and its contents back. And he agreed. And up until the Blackest Night prophecy started, he stayed put. Nobody bothered him. And then a group of people that looked like the Guardians showed up, not being aware of the deal. And he took it as, those are some bald blue people. That must be the Guardians. They've broken their oath. I can break mine. And he went absolutely insane on a large part of the universe. His interesting thing is that because he's the only member of the core, he can actually create constructs of other lanterns and other beings, really, that he's killed, and they serve as his core. He also has one of the only rings that can be charged to 10,000%.
Jesus.
You're telling me. He's a creepy looking dude. In the comics, Hal Jordan keeps saying that Larfleeze reminds him of Gonzo from the Muppets.
Oh my god.
I don't see it. He's just a creepy, fuzzy dude. But he's got a hell of a story. And it is said, I haven't seen any proof of this yet, it's said that the only thing that can actually quell the hunger and greed of the orange light is a blue ring. It's like the blue light of hope can do it. But I haven't seen any proof of that yet, at least not to where I've read. The Star Sapphires. Oh, go ahead.
That makes sense. They're pulling some color wheel shit, because the opposite color on the color wheel from orange is blue.
They dug deep.
That's a pull. I dig it.
Yeah,
that's a pull.
I think that's something else that I respect about DC Comics is like they've done a lot of good work with their references and their subtleties, that if you dig far enough, you're gonna find a connection. You're gonna find a reason for why they did what they did. And I enjoy that. As a writer myself, I can definitely sympathize with that way of thinking.
Oh yeah.
So, the Star Sapphires, a couple of notable members are Carol Ferris, Fatality, and more recently, surprisingly enough, John Stewart, the Green Lantern.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, good old John Stewart is actually regarded as the first ever male Star Sapphire.
That's right, they're all women.
Yeah, they're all women. Up to this point, they have all been women, and their origins are from the planet Zamaron. They were founded by Zamarons. They're just Owens, the Guardians, who, after migrating to Zamaron, found a parasitic crystal which they shaped into several star sapphires. These were used to empower females who had been loved and spurned, providing them with an opportunity for revenge. After Carol Ferris is possessed, or infected, as it were, by the parasitic crystal, she actually fights back, succeeds, and changes the way of thinking of the Star Sapphires and makes them into the allies of the Green Lanterns that they are now. And it's regarded as a reason why she was able to do that is because of the strong feelings between her and Hal Jordan specifically. Even though they've had an on and off relationship throughout the entire series, it's just, you can't break some things. And I think that's awesome.
Agreed.
Yeah. The Indigo Tribe, their homeworld is Nock, and as I said, I actually read all of this already, that they don't wear rings. They coat their weapons in the indigo light of compassion. And something that's really interesting about them is normally, okay, let's take like the green or the yellow or the red lanterns and take a look at how they select their members. Normally it's, Hal Jordan, you possess great will. Welcome to the Green Lantern Corps. You are Sinestro. You possess the ability to instill great fear. If you can do something really well, you're a candidate to become a member of this corps. Not the Indigo Tribe. The Indigo Tribe went the other direction. They actually very specifically seek out sociopaths that feel no compassion as their members, because the indigo light of compassion instills them with so much that they understand the feelings of regret so strongly that they are able to spread those feelings and make others remorseful for their negative, evil acts that they impress upon others. And I thought that was really cool. And this is one of those reasons why we weren't getting into the Gray Lanterns, is because they do something similar. They go after those that feel nothing already, and those are the ones that they take. So there's a vying for power between the Gray and the Indigo.
So the Indigo take the people that only think about themselves, being like, here's a bunch of compassion, nah! And then they're like, oh my god, I'm compassionate. They're forced therapy.
Yep. Yeah.
The Indigo lights the pill.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. That's how that works. The last two, the Black and White, are pretty straightforward. Their homeworld of Riot is for the Black Lanterns. Their first member was a villain known as William Hand, who became the Black Hand, who was the son of a mortician who had even though he was the son of a very wealthy mortician, he had this strange obsession with death. Like, even his therapists couldn't get through to him. And there's a panel in his origin story where he's talking to a therapist, and the therapist says, I noticed you don't get along with people. And under his breath, William says, not live ones.
Huh.
So he's already a dark motherfucker.
Necrophiliac. Yeah.
Not even to that degree. He's like everything would be better if it was dead. And so the Black Lanterns were actually founded by Necron. And shortly after being released, Necron used his dark powers to create the Black Lantern Corps, using the corpses of the Green Lanterns and countless other life forms that had fallen for him. Notably, spoiler alert for any of you that plan on reading these, some of the major players that Necron went after were Bruce Wayne, John Johns, Superman, and I think he also, I haven't gone too far into it, like I'm right here, like this is where I am in the story. And also, I believe Hawkgirl and Hawkman were also among them. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's them. And then last but not least, we have the White Lanterns. There are a few notable members. Hal Jordan, who was later discharged, the Entity, formerly, Swamp Thing, and Kyle Rayner, another Green Lantern, also known as the Ion of Green Lanterns. Unofficially, their homeworld is Earth. So they were actually, big shock, founded by Sinestro when he bonded with the life entity and embodied the embodiment of life itself. I thought that was like kind of crazy. That
Sinestro over here making cores and shit.
Yeah, I know. It's like, dude, come on. It's not an Olympic event. There's a lot of colored rings. It's not an Olympic event. The only other thing that I could find that really sets them apart from the other corps, outside of being regarded as one of the most powerful, is that a White Lantern is chosen when they can actively master all 7 of the other corps, excluding Black, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, there we are.
Because there's one. Well, I mean, I know for the longest time, outside of like, oh, everyone became a White Lantern, but there's canonically like one person that's a White Lantern.
There are a lot that were inducted into the White Lantern Corps and were later discharged, like Hal Jordan, because basically it was a temporary membership. The White Lantern Corps brought them in to do the job to take care of the Blackest Night prophecy and get rid of the Black Lanterns. And then after that job was done, basically took the ring back, go, thank you for your help. Thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah, it resurrected them and took them away from the Black Lantern Corps, yeah.
Yep.
It's like, here's a boost of power and you're resurrected. Thank you for your service. Goodbye.
So remember when I said that the entity was formerly a member of the White Lantern Corps, is basically when Sinestro bonded with him to create the Corps? Well, they still need an entity to power them, just like we have Parallax and Ion and all of these other entities. I did a little bit of reading and I sort of spoiled it for myself. So again, spoiler if anybody's listening and doesn't want to know this. Swamp Thing becomes the new entity for the White Lantern Corps. He becomes the embodiment of life.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
It does make sense. And again, it's one of those things they really thought about it. They're pulling out of left field a little bit here, but it makes the most sense.
Because I mean, Swamp Thing is all about the grain and life.
Yep.
I mean, life at the base level, life just thriving. So it makes sense.
Absolutely.
I love that for him.
He deserves some good, you know?
He does. Swamp Thing coming up in here. You know, I wish the best for Swamp Thing as far as like just everything, like I do with Man Thing for Marvel. Love them both. They're both A-list in my book.
So actually, I've got some questions for you.
What? What's up?
Of the Lantern Corps that we've already talked about, we've said a lot so far.
Yes.
Which corps do you connect most? Like, if you were going to be inducted into one of the corps, which would it be? You can't pick Black because you're not dead.
I'm not dead. I wouldn't want Black anyway. That doesn't sound like a fun time. Ooh. Probably Blue.
Really?
Yeah, the Blue Light of Hope.
Particular reason?
I mean, I hope for a better future. I would say either hope, or if it wasn't for the whole, I'm not a sociopath. I'm not like me. But if they were to open it up doing to anybody outside of that, I would say the Indigo Tribe, because I'm very compassionate, just in general.
Yeah, I can see that.
But with their limited pool and how they do things outside that, I would say the Blue Lantern Corps, because I am very hopeful when it comes to like just life. Always try to look on the bright side of things. Keep hope. Things will always get better. The world will get better. It's fine. Yeah. So I would say, say Blue, but
that fits with the Blue Lantern's almost like catchphrase. You know, all will be well.
Have hope. It'll all work out in the end.
Yeah.
What about you?
Believe it or not, I'm a Blue also. I'm a Blue Lantern. I actually took a quiz a while back. Yeah, I know, it's very 2008 of me. But I took this quiz and it gave me blue, and it explained why a little bit. And I really thought about it, and I realized, yeah, that's true. That's me. I'm a very strong-willed individual, but that doesn't mean that I'm hard-headed and can't be swayed. Like, if you really make a good point, yeah, I'll probably side with you. But if you put me alongside my friends and the people that I love, there isn't a damn thing you can do to stop me. So I'm also not a big fighter. Like, it doesn't mean that I don't know how to or that I won't. I just prefer not to. It's the old saying, like, never mistake my calm for an inability to be violent. That's
exactly
me.
Yeah.
Like,
no, agree.
I have my triggers, and when I get going, it's too late.
Yeah, but same. The exact same. I'm not one to fight. I'll talk my way out of a situation because fighting. No, there's no point in fighting. But if you get that little, so for example, we're going to go to a pull. Inside Out, how they have all the little emotions running the control panel.
Okay.
Mine is ran by fear, anxiety, and anger. Anger takes a back seat, but when anger takes that front seat, I pop off. So yeah, don't. So I agree. I'm the same way. Don't mistake in my calmness for me not being able the ability to beat your ass. Because push comes to shove, I will. I just rather not because I don't see the point. But
can I admit something that's going to probably make you want to disown me as a friend?
What?
I've never seen that movie.
Oh no, you're fine. It's not.
I've said that to people before. They're like, oh, "What?" And I'm like, "Yeah, no, I've never seen it. It's on my list, but I've never seen it."
It's good. You should watch it. It makes you really think. Oh God, who's running my life? It's good if you want. If you want kind of look inward on yourself, it's great. But no, yeah. So no, definitely Blue Lantern Corps to the max. Their vibe is lit. They're just a bunch of just peace loving. Everything's gonna work out in the end, y'all. It's fine. Even when everything around them's on fire, it's fine. It's gonna work out. Trust.
Yeah. So
literally me.
On the topic of who everybody is and where their power stems from. A question that comes up a lot is, who is the most powerful Lantern Corps? You want to take any guesses?
Ooh, I could go with the most basic answer and saying the Green Lanterns, but I feel like that's too easy.
I will tell you this much: it is too easy. It's not them.
It's not green. Good,
it's not green. They're like number 2 or 3, depending on where you put the actual answer.
I want to say either blue or Sinestro.
Okay. So,
those are my two guesses.
I was doing some research on this too, because I kind of rabbit holed myself yesterday. And the obvious answer for a lot of other people is actually going to be the White Lanterns. Being the culmination of all of the light and emotional spectrums allows the White Lanterns to draw and utilize all of them individually or simultaneously. And that's a huge power boost. It's because of the White Lanterns that the Black Lanterns in the first place. But if we only talk about the original 7, I have a surprising opinion on this. And again, I might upset a couple of people, but hear me out.
Who is it?
Stay with me. The Blue Lanterns are regarded as both the weakest and the strongest at the same time.
That makes sense.
I can explain why. So, Blue Lanterns can't create complex constructs or really do much of anything on their own besides flying. However, if you put a Blue Lantern beside a Green Lantern, there is a very, very long list of things that they can do, whether they mean to or not, that no one else can do. For instance, they can supercharge a Green Lantern's ring to an insane degree. As a matter of fact, if a Green Lantern got too close to the blue power battery, it would overcharge the ring to such a degree that the ring would implode and take the wearer's arm with it. They can shut down a Red Lantern's ring by proximity. Red Lantern light is nixed almost completely in the presence of Hope or the blue light. A blue ring can evict a red ring from its host without killing them. Remember how I said that there were a couple of ways to get rid of a red ring without dying?
Yeah.
This is one of them. On more red-blue ring facts, a blue lantern can actually heal a severed connection between a red ring and its host. Instances of this are very few and far between, but they can and do happen. They can deplete a yellow lantern down to 0. They can heal wounds. They can regenerate limbs. Like literally, you're out in the field, and you get your legs and arms blown off. Here comes a blue lantern. Yeah, you got them back now. Probably hurts like holy hell, but I mean, the list goes on. And all of these things are almost completely exclusive to blue lanterns. So maybe white lanterns can probably do it because they have blue lantern energy also, but just the original 7, it's blue lantern all the way. It's gotta be.
They're the best support.
Yeah. They absolutely are.
They're the best support, and depending on who's wanting to take them on, they could take them out. Or weaken them to the point where they won't do anything to them.
Yeah. Oh, and one other thing, I mentioned it before. Blue lanterns, they're the blue light of hope can actually calm and fulfill the orange light of greed.
Damn.
No other light can do that. They are powerful, but they're only powerful beside a green lantern, because that's what they were designed for. They were designed to be a support. And I haven't finished the series yet. I'm not like up to date with new issues, but I wonder if Ganthet and Sade knew just how powerful they would become when they put them together.
Then most definitely, yeah, that does make sense. Because they're the friend in the friend group that's like, when someone's going through hard times, they're that friend's like, hey, it's gonna be fine, it's gonna be great. They're the ones that are picking everyone up. The mom or dad of the group.
Yep, I feel bad.
Oh God, same here. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Everyone's got that friend.
Yeah, everybody's got that one friend in the group that's like, hey, you got fired and your car caught fire at the same time. Everything's gonna be chill. And like, that's not what you want to hear, but deep down they're right. You're too angry to admit it.
Yeah,
that's Blue Lantern energy.
Yeah, Blue Lantern core all the way. I kind of had a feeling that was a Blue Lantern core that was the strongest, taking out White.
Yeah, I admittedly, and you can Google it too, like who's the weakest, who's the strongest. And a couple of times it'll come up with like White Lantern and stuff like that. But most of the time it comes up and says for both categories, Blue Lantern. And then it explains why. And I'm like, this is really cool.
Because everyone wails in the support and be like, oh, the supports are useless. And then the second they leave, oh no, we're dying. Wow.
Yep. There's a reason why there is a combat rule in TTRPGs and RPGs in general. Take out the healer first.
Yeah.
With no support, they fall.
Yeah, exactly.
So anybody out there playing D&D and your DM likes to throw clerics at you, take out the healer first.
Period.
As a forever DM, I can say that.
So, okay, what was the base conversation before all that? We were talking about the.
I don't know that there was one. We were just talking.
Okay, what's some more interesting stuff about the other cores?
Interesting stuff?
Yeah.
Green Lantern Corps. Everybody knows Hal Jordan as the first human Green Lantern of Sector 2814. Yep. He's actually not.
Oh.
There were 3 others before him, chronologically speaking. Yeah. So, there have been several. Chronologically speaking, of course, the first was a Chinese monk named Zhong Li in 660 AD. He had a 3-issue series called The Green Lantern Dragon Lord.
Uh-huh.
And he was given a Green Lantern ring, and he dealt with some Chinese warlords, and that's pretty much his story. It was only 3 issues. Highly recommend it. It was a good time. So anybody wanting some like old world DC, that's a good place to start. You probably need some base knowledge of Green Lantern and the cores and everything else, but for that one specifically, it's just a good time. After that, there was Waverly Sayre. He was a pioneer during the Western expansion of the U.S. He really, there really wasn't a whole lot of information on him. I haven't read his story yet, but he's on my list. As soon as I finish Blackest Night and Brightest Day, I'm diving into this because I want to know more. And then finally, there's Daniel Young, who is actually Hal Jordan's ancestor during the Old West, who was lent a ring by none other than Abin Sur, who had been wounded in a battle off-planet. Daniel took the ring, fought some bandits and criminals in a town where he was a sheriff, and then he returned the ring. It was just a temporary thing, but he was still considered a Green Lantern as far as Abin Sur was concerned. And then after that, we all know what happened. Abin Sur was escorting Atrocitus to a prison. Atrocitus broke free, killed Abin Sur but not before he crash landed on Earth, and Hal Jordan became the new ring bearer. So, but yeah, he's not the first, and that came as a surprise to me.
Yeah. Interesting. How do you feel about Hal?
Depends on the day.
What are your thoughts on Hal Jordan?
Oh.
AKA what's his face? What did he call? Didn't he call him like Parallax or some shit? It was like a villain or something.
No, okay. So prior to the Blackest Night series, like at the beginning of the Jeff Johns series, he was possessed by the Parallax entity, and he called himself Parallax. There's actually a movie about this on HBO. HBO Max or Max, whatever it is they're calling themselves now. And I watched it, and it's really good. So highly recommend that one. It's got Jon Stewart and his origin. It's got Green Arrow and a couple of the other Justice League in it. Very good movie. Go check it out. I think it's called Beware My Power on Max. But anyways, yeah, he was possessed by the Parallax entity, and he effectively annihilated almost the entire Green Lantern Corps by himself. He's just that powerful. After that, he became something known as the Spectre, and is basically the Spectre of Justice. And in the Jeff Johns storyline, one of the first villains you see him deal with is William Hand, the Black Hand. And because of all of the murdering that William Hand did, actually forced him to become his own namesake and burned his hand off and killed him. So it really depends on the day. Hal Jordan is a phenomenal Green Lantern. As a person,
kind of shit.
He's kind of a dick.
He's kind of a dick. Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, everybody's got their moment. Like, Jon Stewart is probably my favorite Green Lantern.
Who's your least favorite?
My least favorite?
Yeah.
Easy answer, Sinestro, because he's not a Green Lantern. But no, honestly, I'll have to get back to you on that one. I don't know. Actually,
I know a
no,
lot.
never mind.
I know a
who
lot
it
of
is.
people. I know a lot of people say Guy.
I was just about to say it's Guy Gardner because
Guy
he's
Gardner.
too full of himself. Like, he's a cool dude. He's got his moments, and he's got a big heart, and he does all this stuff for people. But he's a dick. There's no other way to say it. He's a dick. He's very much the high school quarterback that never grew out of that mentality.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
that was it. And I know I just pissed off some high school quarterbacks that actually enjoy this stuff. You're not the ones I'm talking about.
oh Guy Gardner.
Yeah, Guy Gardner is probably the one that I like least. Like, he's got his moments, and I like when he's on the page. But yeah, no thanks.
So to go in more detail, how many Green Lanterns are there currently from Earth?
From Earth?
Yeah.
Um,
I know there's Hal, there's Stewart, there's Guy, there's God. I'm gonna look this shit up.
I'm kind of looking it up right now too. So it says 8.
8?
They are Hal Jordan, Guy Gardner, John Stewart, Kyle Rayner, Simon Baz, Jessica Cruz, Teen Lantern, also known as Keely Quintella, and the Sojourner Joe Mullen. Mullen? And then there are 3 honorable mentions: Ty Pham, Alan Scott, and Jade. Alan Scott is an interesting one. He's a Golden Age Green Lantern and is an honorary member of the Green Lantern Corps, but his power is derived from a lantern forged from metal of a mystical green meteor. He's part of both Earth 1 and Earth 2's history. But he has Green Lantern-esque powers, but he is not a Green Lantern. He just calls himself the Green Lantern.
Mm-hmm.
If you've ever seen the comic books, or like even in Justice League every once in a while, or some of the movies, he's the dude with the very like 80s looking super suit. It has the Green Lantern on it, but he's got the red cape and the blonde hair. That's him.
Yes. Oh, okay. Okay. What are some good storylines that you've read so far? Dealing with, I mean, most likely the Green Lantern Corps, but like just in general with the lanterns.
So I'm only on one storyline right now, and that's the Blackest Night storyline, which sort of falls back into probably, I think there's about 50 issues before Blackest Night actually starts. Somewhere around that. I'm probably wrong on the number. All the pages sort of blur together after a while.
True.
If I had to break it down to a couple of issues, I really like the induction into the Sinestro Corps of Abin Sur's son, where he's being told the stories or the legacies of some of the other Sinestro Corps members. And one of them actually is a creature whose name escapes me, and it lives in a meteor. And when things fly too close to it, it will reach out and grab them and consume them over the course of I think it said a decade. And it's like the slowest of deaths. And it was just really creepy. I'm like, okay, yeah, that would scare the shit out of me. It definitely deserves to be a lantern. There were a couple of others. I like the Red Lantern origin also, that's touched on when Atrocitus is explaining everything that led up to him becoming who he is and why he is the way he is. I absolutely loved that. Trying to think. Hal Jordan's Parallax Convergence was probably up there on the list of really good storylines.
Yeah.
It's really interesting to see a character that has for years been regarded as the golden boy. He's like someone you all want to be like. And then he is turned into this violent killing machine and holds zero remorse for anything that he's done or is doing. And it's interesting to see that twist. It's something you don't see in writing very often. Well, okay, that's not true. You see it a lot. You don't see it often enough, in my opinion. Where you can take your hero and make them the villain, and now everyone has to deal with their idol being something that they have to potentially kill, and the struggles that everyone has to go through dealing with that. But those would be my picks. Larfleeze is kind of fun, but his is a pretty short story. He does have a section, I think it's like 2 or 3 comics in The Blackest Night, where it's explaining his origin and where his core came from, or lack thereof. Which, by the way, the artwork for Larfleeze's headquarters, hideout, home, whatever you want to call it, is filled with trillions of Orange Lantern rings. And no one else can wear them because he doesn't have anyone else that he will give them to.
Wouldn't that be a great storyline? He finds somebody that he wants to give the orange ring to.
It would be, but at the same time, it would be like, well, that kind of defeats the purpose of greed. It would be fun to see somebody else.
Or somebody else takes it.
So the Green Lantern animated series, which is also on Max, unless they've removed it recently, they actually go over a little bit of this. And Hal Jordan gets a hold of an orange ring. And it becomes a problem.
I mean, it's Hal. When does Hal not become a problem?
That's fair. That's a very fair point.
Hal is like the best Green Lantern as well as one of the worst at times. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's Hal. Not surprised. He's a problem.
Actually, on the topic of what would happen if somebody else became a Lantern, so when Sinestro started his corps, the rings were sent out to go seek out new members when certain ones would die, just like the Green Lantern rings do. And one of them found its way to Batman.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I remember that.
He actually rejected it because he didn't want to be a pillar of fear. He just knew how to instill it. And so he rejected it. And as far as I remember, I think, yeah. So Hal Jordan actually lent Bruce Wayne his ring, his green ring, at one point. And Oliver Queen, the Green Arrow, has worn it once too. But they're more like honorary members. They're not official, obviously. Takes away their whole identity. And then Batman was actually, for a short time, was also a White Lantern.
Yep, as well as a black one.
Yep. But they all were. So there's that.
But they all were. So everybody who was dead, there's a lot of dead people. Zombies.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Let's
gone over pretty much all my notes.
Yeah.
What else you got? I can keep going.
Well, that's pretty much like the Lantern Corps in a nutshell. Like, because again, this episode wasn't necessarily about any particular storylines. It's just going over the Corps as they are. So
yeah, that's true. That was the Lantern Corps in a nutshell. I'm looking at the clock. Yeah, 2-hour nutshell.
Was it 2 hours? Oh, it's almost 2 hours.
Yeah, almost.
Almost 2
I'm
hours.
not complaining. This was fun.
Oh no, this is great. Okay, so since basically we're basically done, but I'm gonna have a little fun. What if Darkseid got a yellow ring? How fucked would the world be? I would say Darkseid would either get a yellow ring or a red one. If he got either one of those, how fucked would they be?
He's too, in a weird way, as strange as this is going to sound, he is too well mentally put together for a red ring. Red ring is blind rage and violence for the sake of violence. He is calculating and he thinks too much. So I think he would be a better fit for a yellow ring between those two.
Now that I think about it, he wouldn't have a ring. Rings would be made based around him.
Yeah.
He'd be the entity for another core. I'm surprised they haven't done that.
Maybe. I mean, it would certainly be making the finding the anti-life equation a lot faster.
Oh God.
Yeah.
The anti.
Go out and do this thing. Here's power based on me. Go find it. Tell me where it is.
Oh my God! Yes, the anti-life equation. Let me just create more zombies.
Yep.
The Black Lantern. Oh my God! The Black Lanterns are running amok on top of the anti-life equation. Ew.
Oh, that can only go right.
Oh God, that's a nightmare. They all would. I don't think they'd win. I don't think anyone would win. There's no shining light there. The Blue Lanterns would be like, yeah, no, we're putting it. We're throwing it in the towel. Fuck this.
As a Blue Lantern, I'd be looking at that going, I'll tell you what I hope for. I hope I don't have to go down there.
I hope it's not my problem.
You can take care of that your damn self. I'm not doing it.
Not my job. I'm over here minding my own damn business.
Yep. I'm gonna go find more monks. All right, now actually, because you're a Marvel guy.
Yes, I am.
So I'm gonna pose some Marvel questions to you. Now that you know what you know about the different cores.
Yeah.
Take the Avengers. I'm talking the Avengers 1 movie.
Yeah.
What are their cores?
Okay. All right.
Do some crossover shit.
That's a good question. Okay, so for the Hulk, you could say there is an argument for the Red Lantern, the Red Ring.
There is.
But with Bruce and the Hulk being two different people, I don't necessarily know if that would work.
Okay, so we'll take the easy way out, which I don't like doing, but we're going to do it, and say that we'll isolate this to just the Hulk. Not even Bruce Banner, but just the Hulk.
Yeah, because if you bring in Bruce Banner, I would say the blue ring. But if you bring in if it's just the Hulk, I would say the red ring, obviously, because he's nothing but just pure unfiltered rage. Granted, depends on which. He's not so rage-filled. His rage is directed and pointed at a certain goal in that movie or in that version of the Hulk. But yeah, I would say the Red Lantern for that. For the
Can
Hulk.
I also just take a quick second to say that I love that Stan Lee figured out a way to weaponize Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde?
Right? Love that.
That's essentially what he did.
Oh no, yeah, most definitely. For Captain America, I would either give him. I would give him the Indigo Tribe. Compassion.
Okay.
Iron Man. Controversial. This is very controversial. Green Lantern.
Okay.
So
I was actually going to say Captain America could actually be either green or blue, but I like where you went with compassion.
I know. I was thinking the same thing. Green or blue?
He's a very
blue.
Compassionate person. Oh, you know what it would be? He wouldn't have an indigo compassion staff. You just put the damn thing on his shield.
He put the damn thing on his shield, exactly.
Yeah.
Because like I thought the same thing. Green Lantern, I'm like, that's too easy. And Blue Lantern, he's not granted. He's one to fight. He's not.
Oh, absolutely.
So let's go. And that's not very Blue Lantern way of thinking. Granted, he is very hopeful. So I'm like, compassion. That's a very interesting one. So Captain America, Indigo Tribe, Iron Man, Green Lantern, Hulk, Red Lantern. Thor. Black Widow, blue.
Black Widow gets blue. Did you say Thor, or did it cut out?
I said Thor. I was like Thor, and I was thinking it, and I'm like, wait, Black Widow, blue. Thor would be a. I want to say Star Sapphire, because he does what he does because he loves Jane, and he loves Earth and humanity. Because the reason he's there is because of love, at least in the beginning.
I'm trying to wrap my head around a purple Thor.
Right? Yeah, because I was thinking, again, Thor could be Green Lantern. I'm like, that's too easy. And you go deeper. And I'm like, he's only really there because of the woman he loves, and then he develops relationships, friendships with the rest of the Avengers, as well as learns about humanity and initially falls in love with humanity. Yeah, he'd be a Star Sapphire.
Okay. And
or Hawkeye would be a. Ooh, that's a. I think I'd give him a white.
Really?
Yeah, because he kind of shows all of those emotions. Like, he's not afraid. He's hopeful for the future. Especially, he doesn't really illustrate that too much in the first movie, but in Age of Ultron, he's very much just like hopeful things will get better. He's very compassionate to Wanda. He, of course, does everything he does for the love of his family, as well as saving the planet, Avi. And he's compassionate. And I mean, there's a little bit of like, obviously in Endgame, there's a little bit of like, very much thinking about himself, rage filled, greedy in some way.
When it comes to Endgame, I was going to say there's one dialogue line that actually wrecks all of what you've just said. And that's when he looks at Black Widow and says, "Don't do that. Don't give me hope."
Yeah.
He doesn't want it. In that moment, he does not want to hope. He just wants to kill.
Because he did hope for so long.
Yeah. So Hawkeye is a White Lantern, but Ronin is a Red Lantern.
Yes. Ronin's a full-on fucking Red Lantern.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Now I do want to, if you will allow, I'm going to overrule your choice for Black Widow.
Go for it.
Yellow.
Yellow was a second choice. I was like, yellow.
I would say that if we had to give Black Widow a lantern ring, it would be yellow, and the reason for it is she does very easily instill fear in others, but she does so on such a subliminal, subtle level that you don't realize it until it's too late, and that's almost worse.
Yeah, right? You know what?
It's worse when you realize, I'm afraid of this chick. I've always been afraid of this chick. Oh, I'm already in too deep. Like, that is so much
too late
worse
for
than
me.
You see it coming.
You know what? I will change my answer. You have convinced me to go to the side of the Sinestro Corps for Black Widow. That's so good. That's so good. It makes so much sense. Hell, the Red Room, all those Black Widows that come from the Red Room, all that is just it's just a factory of yellow lanterns.
Exactly.
Oh, so good.
All right. I'm gonna up it just a little bit, just because I've got a little bit more time. Give me Falcon, Spider-Man, and Black Panther. What are theirs?
Okay. Spider-Man would be I want to say blue, but he's not afraid to put up a fight. I would say for Spider-Man, a Green Lantern. He has the will and drive.
He's got that playful side to him, and even when it's all business, he can still be in the groove. He's just kind of vibing, and Green Lantern for Spider-Man.
Falcon would be a Blue Lantern.
Yeah,
most definitely. Now, Black Panther, I would say a Red Lantern, but he's not. His rage is subtle, because he's very much all about Wakanda, and anyone that does anything wrong to Wakanda, he will rain hellfire upon them.
Okay, so actually,
it's like the subtle rage.
It surprised me when you chose Red for him, but the more you talk about it, the more I can kind of relate it to Atrocitus and his story. Is that everything he's doing is because his home planet was taken from him.
Yes.
And it's like, you have harmed my home, so now I'm going to do worse to you. And I get that.
And as his story goes on, the rage comes out more and more. And then, of course, Endgame happens. And it's like, oh, yeah. Most definitely.
And then we dip into the villains. We've got Killmonger, who is absolutely a red or a yellow, because all he's doing is revenge and malice and hate.
Yes, but there's also an underlining thing of greed that he wants it all for himself.
Yeah.
So you could say red, yellow, or orange. But yeah, I would say red or yellow more than orange. But there's like a subtlety of greed there.
I feel like Loki would be
Loki.
Orange.
Loki would be orange. Straight up.
Yeah. High key Loki is going to be orange.
High key Loki is orange.
Do you ever get like fan art for these podcasts?
If anyone ever wants to do any fan art, I'm
okay. If there, I'm going to put this out there. If there are any artists that are listening to this and want to do some fan art, I would absolutely love to see some of the Avenger characters or the Marvel characters we've mentioned as their lantern colors, the ones that we've claimed them to be. I think that would be really cool. I still can't wrap my head around a purple Thor, but I'm trying.
Speaking of Thor, Gore the God Butcher, Star Sapphire. Everything goes back.
Enough, yes.
Yeah. Everything goes back to love. Well, at least for the movie. For the movie version of him. Yeah. For the comic book.
No. He's also red. Because
That's true.
Again, look at Atrocitus. He's doing everything because of the love for his home. So Gore would be red or Star Sapphire. But yeah. I really I try not to critique too much. But I wanted to like Love and Thunder so much more than I did. And I went in knowing it was a comedy. I just think they picked the wrong villain for that movie. Like, Gore is such a deep character, and I love him.
Yeah.
And you chose to give him 10 minutes of on-screen time in a comedy.
That is fair.
That upsets me.
I agree. I completely agree with that, because Thor: Love and Thunder, I like Thor: Love and Thunder for what it is, but I do think that Gore the God Butcher should have been like a Thanos level villain. Personally,
he absolutely should have. They also changed up his origin a little bit because his power doesn't come from the sword; it comes from Necron, which is like the original symbiote.
Comes from Null, yeah.
No, thank you. Sorry,
Necron it comes from Null.
Yeah,
the Necron,
like the original.
Yeah. Which there's been rumors that eventually they're going to possibly do that for Spider-Man, bring in Null, and I'm like, please do, because Null's a great villain. Now Null better be a like Avengers level fucking threat, because that god is terrifying.
Oh, absolutely.
But no,
On the topic of symbiotes, though, did you hear about the new Spider-Man and/or Venom movie called Along Came a Spider?
Along Came a Spider.
Mm-hmm. I think it's called. Let's see if I can find it. Venom: Along Came a Spider is Venom 3.
Oh.
And it's Tom Holland.
Oh.
Yeah. So the movie poster I saw actually looked like Andrew Garfield, and I got really excited. But it's Tom Holland.
Oh. Interesting.
Yeah. Something to look forward to. Because Tom Hardy did a phenomenal job as Venom, and I could not be happier. It's like casting Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. You can't pick anybody else.
True. And it's just me because I'm not straight, but my God, that man's good looking. I can just look at him all day. Ugh. Future husband. Tom
Ryan
Hardy.
Reynolds or Tom Hardy? Tom Hardy?
Oh,
okay.
Both. But like Tom Hardy.
I have a joke that's not a joke, that is a joke. So I'll let you take it for what it's worth. Is that I am a straight man, but if there was ever one man that I was going to go gay for, it's either going to be Ryan Reynolds or Johnny Depp.
Oh, I mean, you can't say no to those two.
You can try, but they're very persuasive. No. But yeah, and here's where it becomes a joke that's not a joke that might be a joke. It's that any other straight man that says otherwise is lying.
Lying! Where's the lie? Oh, Deadpool would definitely be a... Speaking of, I was thinking it's like Deadpool. Deadpool, oh, I could...
He's hard to pin down.
I'll say, you know what? I'll say Compassion. Indigo Tribe.
Really?
At the end, yes, because in a weird fucking way, he is very compassionate to his fellow people. Outside of like, he will viciously murder a motherfucker. But like Deadpool 2, for example, his compassion really fucking shows through.
It does.
I would say Indigo Tribe at the end of the day, because I mean you can argue, because I would say either Indigo Tribe or even White Lantern, because he kind of shows everything to some degree.
Yeah, I don't know. He's hard to pin down because he's also one of the only ones that Johnny Blaze, the Ghost Rider, tried to use the penance stare on Deadpool.
It doesn't work,
and it doesn't work. He turned back into Johnny Blaze because it didn't know what to do.
Yeah. Maybe you know what? Black Lantern.
I did.
Because he probably would get it.
No, that actually works.
Because he can't.
Because it's not that he can't die; it's that he's constantly dying. So all like the fuck up on his skin, that's just constant cancer, and his body is just like going through and filtering out the cancer cells and healing constantly. So he's been dead a long time. He got cut in half. All right, like above the hips, in the belly button, cut in half.
Yeah.
The dude is dead. He got shot in the head more than once too.
And I mean, he's
He's
in
a Black
love
Lantern.
with death on top of that. So, yeah, he's a Black Lantern. Period.
He's a Black Lantern. He's the only living Black Lantern, and for good reason.
God, yes. Because his whole love for death. Which, by the way, I know we're sidetracking here. I really do hope in some fucking weird universe that Vanessa is Lady Death in disguise.
Why would you do this to me?
Because it made so much sense in the second one where he's like, I'm trying to be with you. And she's like, you can't be with me. And I'm like, oh my God, they're just taunting me with it in my fucking face that Vanessa is Lady Death, but they never did it.
I had never drawn that conclusion before, and we're about to wrap up, and now I'm not going to sleep at night. So thank you for that.
Missed opportunity.
No, there's still time. We're getting Deadpool 3, and they got Hugh Jackman into the yellow suit.
Yeah.
We've all seen the pictures. It's beautiful, and I couldn't be happier.
Oh, so good. I didn't think it was gonna look that good, but it's so good. But no, I still hope. Give that woman that plays Vanessa the role of Lady Death, because it's after this. I kind of got the vibe in the first one, but after the second one, I was like, oh my God, they're really playing that shit up. And I'm like, you motherfucker, because I know Vanessa is based on a mutant character granted she's not a mutant, but in the comics she is. But I'm like, you're playing it up where she's like death because you're doing the whole thing where, you can't be with me because Thanos cursed him to live forever. Once upon a time, so he couldn't be with Lady Death. But like, it's right. I was like right there. I was so mad. I was like, it's right there. They're taunting me, these fuckers. I was so mad. So mad. It's like right there on the screen in front of me, and it's like, no, we're not gonna give it to you.
We gotta do another one of these, you and I, and we just hash out like fan theories, missed opportunities, and things we are hopeful for.
Oh, I would love to do an episode like that. Oh my God.
Yeah, let's do that. Like, find me a day, and I will make the time. I work from home. It's not that hard for me.
Oh, bet. I will add that into the schedule. So you heard that first, ladies and gents. We'll have an episode again with Wick where we just talk about fan theories and missed opportunities. And trust, there's a lot of them.
Yeah, oh God, yeah. I have a long list. And I'll take it a step further. I have a new game I would like to play with you on this podcast when we do this recording, whenever it may be, called Fancast. And all you need to know is that the rules of the game are: you are now in an alternate universe where famous roles are played by different actors. Who are they?
Oh my God, yes.
So
I'm waiting. I have a list.
We're gonna have a good time. It's gonna be great.
It's gonna be great.
I'm so excited.
So until then, thank you guys for listening to today's podcast on the Lantern Corps. Join us next time as I, with another guest, go over something else in the world of comics. I think it's gonna be next week's episode. Next episode might be something to do with a very famous redhead from the world of Marvel. There's many. Pick and choose which one I'm talking about. But until then, you'll find out. So, till then, bye.
Bye.